Women's strawweight has been the premier division in the UFC as far as the women's divisions are concerned. And we have two of the top fighters in Nina Ansaroff looking to make her return from motherhood, I guess, taking on, well, fellow mother Mackenzie Dern. And for Mackenzie Dern, since she took the time off, since the loss to Amanda Ribas, 4 big wins, and she had a very busy 2020. For Nina Ansaroff, the last time we saw her in a cage, it was a loss to Tatiana Suarez back a year and 9 months ago. And it was also the last time that we saw Tatiana Suarez as well. And for Ansaroff, she had one of those Jan Blachowicz type starts to her UFC career. She lost twice. She won some. I think she lost one in the middle. She went on a tidy little win streak. And you go all the way back to 5 on in. Actually, it was 4. Jocelyn Jones-Lybarger, she gets the finish there. She beats Angela Hill, outstrikes Angela Hill. She beat Randa Marcos, and she beat Claudia Gadelha. And she beat her, like, soundly. It was a really big win.
It was a great performance. And not to just cut you off from the Gadelha win, because it was really important, but that win really did set her up well for the Suarez fight, because there were a lot of similarities between the two. You look at what she did against Claudia. Claudia starts out really good. We know her cardio is very suspect, but Claudia starts out great. Nina is a very composed fighter, and I think that's an important fact to bring out, because she's not a fighter who's going to waste any unintentional energy by being so tense up in the fight. I know it's a weird thing to talk about, but it is true. Nina Ansaroff is really good at outlasting grapplers, because a lot of people go in there. She's a tall, rangy striker. I know she fought Angela Hill, but the comp is there. They both fight in a very similar manner, so a lot of people go out there looking to take Nina Ansaroff down. But Nina Ansaroff has great takedown defense, and then she just kind of forces that grappler to become a striker as the fight progresses. You even look at the Tatiana Suarez fight. Yeah, she lost it, but I actually thought Nina Ansaroff looked really good in that loss. She gets taken down a lot in the first round. In the second round, it's a little bit more of the same, but you can tell with about a minute left in that second round, Nina Ansaroff's like, no, if I can keep the fight on the feet, it's going to be a completely different fight. And then you look at the complete third round, Nina Ansaroff tees off on Tatiana Suarez, completely exposes her striking, and really showed that, yeah, she might have not had the wrestling at one point in her career, but as the fight progresses, the cardio of Nina Ansaroff is so good that she will eventually be able to deny the takedown attempts of an Olympic caliber wrestler in Tatiana Suarez. So for Nina Ansaroff, she's had fights that oddly do set her up for this one very well, and I think the Claudia Gadelha fight is a really important one to bring up, because Mackenzie Dern, to me, is just Claudia 3.0, if you will. She might have skipped the 2.0, because I really do think she's the more modern version of what Claudia used to be. She just has the cardio now, because for Claudia, for the longest time, and you can even go through every division and think of this, every division has that one submission threat. Heavyweight had Verdum forever, middleweight had Luke Rockhold, middle Damian Maia, welterweights had Maia. Just every division has that one, like, BJJ specialist that you can't go to the mat with. Mackenzie Dern is now that fighter at women's strawweight, and it used to always be Claudia for me, because Claudia would come out, she had that great win over Karolina Kowalkiewicz. That doesn't look great over time, but still, she was that fighter you couldn't mess with on the mat. With Mackenzie Dern, she can be that fighter, but she does everything Claudia does. She just doesn't get tired as the fight progresses. The only problem I do have with Mackenzie Dern is I don't want her to get too hand happy or too strike happy now that she is with Jason Perillo. And you do look at the improvements that her striking has made. She looks far better than she did when she first came into the UFC. When Mackenzie Dern first came into the UFC, she just threw punches from her hips. And if they landed, that was great, but if they didn't, she was kind of screwed. Now she actually has decent technique behind her striking. She has decent power, too, for the division. And there's a lot to like about Mackenzie Dern. The only problem I have is that Mackenzie Dern has never fought a fighter like Nina Ansaroff. She's never fought a fighter. I guess you could bring up Ashley Yoder if you want to, but I don't think Yoder has the pop on the end of her shots that Ansaroff has. And I'm really worried about one thing for each fighter. A, how is this long layoff going to affect Nina Ansaroff? We even saw Mackenzie Dern in her first fight back after her pregnancy. She didn't look good against Amanda Ribas, and I'll be honest, maybe a bit of a hot take. A fully prepared Mackenzie Dern beats a fully prepared Amanda Ribas. Maybe I'm not right, but I do think that's a very competitive fight if they do end up running that back. I think that was a case of Dern came back a little bit too early after her layoff, whereas Ansaroff, it seems like she has given herself a little bit of time since her initial, or since her pregnancy, I guess, to really let her body settle in now and be the natural strawweight that she once was. So there's a lot of question marks coming from both sides. I think this is a really fun fight in the strawweight division.
For Mackenzie Dern, you look at that 3-fight win streak. So she does lose to Amanda Ribas. She beats Hannah Cifers. That fight shouldn't have happened. She submits Randa Marcos. That doesn't happen every day.
She looked good.
And then she fought Vina Jandiroba, where her striking looked much improved. It was like Brian Ortega when he fought Korean Zombie, but she didn't put her out. And it was a kind of a close fight, and maybe some people thought Jandiroba won, but it doesn't really matter. Mackenzie Dern's got the W on her record and moves up the chain to fight Nina Ansaroff, who, again, coming off a long layoff. She has that loss to Tatiana Suarez, the uncrowned champ, so a lot of people would like to think. But it makes for a very interesting one. For Mackenzie Dern, 5% on her takedowns given, if you want to call it that. That's 1 for 20. She does not need to get the takedown because you can take her down. She's going to submit you. She doesn't need it to open things up. 0% takedown defense. She can just pull guard all day. And if you want to hop into it, you're going to get submitted 6 ways to Sunday. I look at this one, yeah, it is kind of tricky because if this fight happened before Ansaroff took the time off, if she lost to Suarez and then fought Dern, she would have mopped the floor with Mackenzie Dern. The advancements in the striking, I like them from Dern, but it is a tricky one.
It is, and that's the problem. I think everything says that Mackenzie Dern should win this fight. It really does. You have Ansaroff, she's coming off a long layoff. Who really knows how invested she even has to be in her career anymore? Her wife is the greatest fighter of all time, and it's not even debatable anymore. So for Ansaroff, you just don't really know where her priorities are, I guess. And if she is that fighter who still wants to, okay, I'm ready to lose a fight, lose another fight, and then work my way up the ranks again.
People said that about Nunes before she fought Megan Anderson.
And no one thought she was going to lose that fight, Craig. Why even bring that up?
Ansaroff open to -150. She's now -132 favorite. For Mackenzie Dern coming back, the underdog open +130. She's now at a +109. And if we have a look at the Topology votes, Matt, there's a lot of them. 1,166, 82% Dern, 67% by submission. The fans overwhelmingly in Dern's corner. The gamblers, they have Nina Ansaroff to get the win. It is a tricky one. I'd sit this one out, but yeah, I have a hard time with it.
I'm going to say Mackenzie Dern, but I can very openly admit that if she loses this fight, she's going to lose it in an ugly way. Because if Dern can't get the takedown or can't at least convince Ansaroff to take her down or pull guard in some aspect, I do see Ansaroff just kind of dancing around the cage, using a lot of her probing attacks to sort of break down Mackenzie Dern as the fight progresses. It has been a little while that Dern's been at Ruka, so maybe her striking has taken another step up, and maybe she can make it competitive on the feet with Ansaroff, especially if she can close the distance, make it less of a kickboxing fight, more of a boxing fight. I do like Dern, but if Ansaroff can keep the distance, use a lot of her kicks, it will be a good fight for Dern.
If we haven't lost a step with Nina Ansaroff, she should be able to win this fight. I mean, good takedown defense, decent jiu-jitsu, and the much better striker, and she throws a lot of different looks as well. So for Nina Ansaroff, I definitely see the path there. I'm going to side with the odds in this one. I've got Nina Ansaroff.
Yeah, I've got Mackenzie Dern overwhelmingly. I just think with that time off and with the improvements of Dern striking, I do think it's going to be a really hard time for Nina Ansaroff in this fight.
Matt, really looking forward to this fight. I'm going Ansaroff. You're going Dern. Should be a great card. 15 fights total, headlined by Marvin Vettori and Kevin Holland. Let's keep locked in with Fight Night Picks, as we always say, Matt. Let's get into it.